almost died. You have a compound fracture of the tibia in both legs, and the fibula in the right leg is fractured, too.
I'm your #1 fan.
My name is Annie Wilkes.
I think one of my clients, Paul Sheldon, might be in some kind of trouble.
You mean Paul Sheldon, the writer? Well, everybody sure likes those misery books.
They had it at the store, Paul.
They said he checked out last Tuesday. Isn't that a little strange?
I guess it was kind of a miracle you finding me.
In a way, I was following you.
You were following me?
Oh, Paul, I've read everything of yours. The misery novels.
You must be a good man. You could never have created such a wondrous, loving creature as Misery Chastain.
Very kind.
The presumption must now be that Paul Sheldon is dead.
You dirty bird. How could you? Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
Misery Spirit is still alive.
I don't want her, Smith! I want her! And you murdered her!
You don't think he's dead, do you?
And don't even think about anybody coming for you, because I never called them. Nobody knows you're here. And you better hope nothing happens to me. Because if I die, you die.
I know you've been out. Is this what you're looking for?
Eventually, you'll come to accept the idea of being here.
Annie, whatever you think about doing, please don't do it. Annie, for God's...
Shh, darling. Trust me.
God's sake!
It's for the best. God, I love you.
Stephen King's 1990 psycho thriller Misery, directed by Rob Reiner. Kathy Bates actually won Best Actress for her performance in this role when she plays the role as Annie Wilkes. And just to give you a briefing on the movie, Misery tells the story of a famous author who's involved in a car accident due to a freak snow blizzard shortly after completing the writing of his best-selling novel. He's rescued by Annie Wilkes, who contends she is his #1 fan. She does take Paul in, nurses him back to health via pain relievers and a variation of other pain medication Annie was able to acquire from her previous occupation of being a nurse. Annie does ask to read Paul's novels. Out of gratitude, Paul allows Annie to read the manuscripts. However, after Annie reads the final chapter and learns that her favorite character, Misery Chastain, is killed in the end, Annie flies in a rage, demands that Paul rewrites the script. Paul learns fast that Annie is a head case and complies with her orders in fear of being killed, coupled with the fact she just informed him that nobody knows that he is there and that she did not call his associates as previously indicated. Paul draws up a plan to kill Annie, however it's unsuccessful. Shortly thereafter, a fight does ensue. She shoots Paul, however he's still able to defend himself and ultimately kills Annie in the end. Now, the scene that I'm going to specifically be analyzing will be the scene where she is demanding that Paul rewrites the script. Now, I'm going to focus in specifically on those camera dynamics and patterns to capture those dramatic facial expression as the script content intensifies. Let's take a look. Okay, we have our first shot, a still shot of Mr. Paul Sheldon featured at the desk there typing, and based on that facial expression, he looks very disenchanted. Doesn't seem to be too pleased to be in his situation. In this next still shot here we have is this basically a re-establishing shot, basically to just let you know that the scene is actually continuous, also to show the environment in which the movie was actually filmed. So we're going to pause here again just to show that Mr. Paul Sheldon is featured there at the desk. He's confined to the wheelchair, and once again it does show that he has been appeared to have been typing for a while now.
Sorry, Paul, this is all wrong.
Okay, we're going to pause here, and this is an over-the-shoulder shot. This is a very popular shot here, and it makes good use for showing reaction during conversation, and it tends to place more of an emphasis on the connection between the two speakers rather than the disattachment or the isolation that results from a single shot. As we move on here.
You'll have to do it over again. It's not worthy of you. Throw it all out, except for that part of naming the gravedigger after me. You can leave that in.
Still over the shoulder shot.
I really value your criticism, but maybe we're being a little hasty here.
Paul, what you've written just isn't fair.
Okay, we're going to pause here, and this is a high angle shot, and typically these shots show the character to be more heroic, more dangerous, more powerful, more dominant, as she looks down very sarcastically at Mr. Paul Shelton there. And in Annie Wilkes' case, it can be any one of those three.
Not fair.
That's right. When I was growing up in Bakersfield, my favorite thing in all the world was to go to the movies on Saturday afternoons for the chapter
More
plays.
dramatic facial expressions.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
Anyway, my favorite was Rocket Man.
Okay, and we're going to actually pause here just so we can feature in on the full shot of Annie Wilkes while she's engaged in her dialogue.
Once it was a no-brakes chapter. The bad guy stuck him in a car on a mountain road, knocked him out, welded the door shut, tore out the brakes, and started him to his death. And he woke up and tried to steer and tried to get out, but the car went off a cliff before he could escape. And it crashed and burned, and I was so upset and excited. And the next week, you better believe
While
I was
Mr.
first in
Paul
line.
Shelton
And
looks
they
there
always
from
start with
mid-shot,
the last week.
looks very,
There was
listens
Rocky,
and looks
trying to
very
get out.
intently.
And here comes the cliff. And just before the car went off the cliff, he jumped free. And all the kids cheered.
A mid-shot there.
But I didn't cheer. I stood right up and started
As the
shouting,
camera slowly
"This
pans
isn't what
in to
happened
get a good
last week,
full shot
and you
of
all got amnesia?
close-up shot.
They just cheated us. This isn't fair.
Okay, and we have a close-up shot of this Annie Wilkes as she's in the conclusion of her dramatic dialogue.
He didn't get out of the cockpit duty car.
Okay, and this is actually, it's not really a extreme close-up shot, but it's actually a close-up shot. As we will continue, Mr. Paul Shelton looks befuddled, lost for words.
They always cheated like that in chapter plays.
But not you. Not with my misery.
And this is a over-the-shoulder, low-angle shot, basically featuring Annie Wilkes to be a little more empathetic to his situation. Her tone, her dialogue is even softer, less of a dominance role.
Ian did ride for Dr. Cleary at the end of the last book, but his horse fell jumping the fence, and Ian broke his shoulder and his ribs and lay all night in the ditch, and he never reached the doctor. So there couldn't have been any experimental blood transfusion that saved life. Misery was buried in the ground at the end, Paul, so you'll have to start there.
And this last shot, this is a reaction shot, and it's actually a cutaway shot as well. And it usually features the actor reacting to either a main scene, like a conversation or event. And this reaction is normally conveyed by a sneer, a grin, a nod. And in this case, Mr. Paul Shelton, he's going to actually just give us a last nod there. Okay. Well, that's the conclusion here, and once again, my name is J. Phils Johnson, and I am a student at California State University, Dominguez Hills, and the classroom title is Introduction to Film, with the outstanding Dr. John Vandenhorf is our professor. And again, the film was only created, this portion was only created for a classroom illustration and will only be used for that said purpose. Thank you for joining in today, and hope you enjoyed the brief presentation.